Yeah, it's a shame that that's where their party has moved. It's not where America is. I mean, my gosh, we've seen such an outpouring of love for Charlie, what he represented, the idea that we should be able to debate freely even when we disagree and do it in a civil way. And that's what Charlie did, and it's what he represented.
That was Congressman Steve Scalise, who was also shot by a Democrat with a rifle and nearly killed when a Bernie Sanders volunteer showed up on a baseball field in Virginia and tried to mow down the entire Republican baseball team. In a suicide attack, yet another Democrat suicide attack. You know what the Democrats call theft in Washington, D.C.? They call it TPWR. TPWR. The Democrats now call criminals stealing your car, stealing your stuff. They call it TPWR. Oh, what could that possibly mean, you're wondering? Taking property without right. You don't have the right to take that property. So if you steal somebody's bike, you knock them off the bike, you steal the bike. They call it TPWR, taking property without right. That's what they call it. They're the party of criminals. They're the party of crime. They're pro-crime and pro-criminal. They're not civilized people. They're the left. And there's no censorship going on in Jimmy Kimmel being suspended by the Disney Corporation. He's not getting any ratings, and he goes on and spreads absolute lunatic lies. You know, he should go on, I guess he's not going to be on tonight because on the local TV we've got Family Feud. We got Celebrity Family Feud. Oh, tonight is the special, that's right. I apologize. Tonight is the special on Charlie Kirk. And on Sunday is in Arizona in a football stadium is the memorial service, the funeral, the mega funeral for Charlie Kirk. He had many friends, unlike Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who voted against a House resolution to honor Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated by a Democrat last week. And 58 Democrats voted against the resolution. 38 Democrats voted present. 22 additional Democrats not voting because, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I guess a couple of Democrats voted for the resolution. I think Hakeem, the jihadi anti-Semite Jeffries, he voted for it. But, you know, he's a showboat. It's all a TV show to him. So we've got that. And, again, Democrats believe no matter what you say, there are no consequences for what you say, for the things you say. But never mind what they were saying a couple of years ago when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences, right? And when Ilhan Omar said, bottom line, your opinions have consequences like everything else in life. Sure. There you go. She said, does the First Amendment protect your freedom of speech? Yes. Does it protect you from being shamed or shunned by others? No. Bottom line, your opinions have consequences like everything else in life. That was Ilhan Omar then, but now, were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. Aren't they amazing? I've got to say, I got a friend of mine, Scott Hoganson in Texas, sent me his article in Town Hall. This morning he sent me his article in Town Hall. The headline is, Burning Cities versus Burning Candles. And that is sums it up very well right there in the headline when it comes to the difference between the Democrat Party burning cities because a career criminal drug addict died of cardiac failure while resisting arrest. And of course, Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a Democrat criminal who thinks that his boyfriend is his girlfriend and then thought he was going to get away with it, I guess. They're not very bright people, these Democrats. But my friend Scott Hoganson in Town Hall, Burning Cities versus Burning Candles. The disdain for Charlie Kirk's death is remarkable to see, from entertainment figures and university professors to social media influencers and cable TV commentators. It's hard to recall any time in our history when a man's murder has been so cruelly celebrated. But this heartlessness isn't limited to academia and coastal liberal enclaves. It's deeply embedded among the grassroots of the Democrat Party. I didn't know what to expect when I attended a meeting of local Democrats in my North Texas community Wednesday night. The county where I live voted for President Donald Trump by a 13-point margin last year. So I live in D.C., where they voted for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz by, I think, a 92% margin. And that's why we have the highest murder rates. Just look at the voting tolls, and I'll predict reliably the homicide rates. But Scott continues that he went to his meeting of Democrats, local Democrats, in his North Texas community. The county where I live voted for Donald Trump by a 13-point margin. Crime and poverty are well below the national average, while household income and home values are well above the national average. I strolled to the meeting hall filled with several dozen people, and took a seat. Now, as I waited for the meeting to start, an elderly woman, a liberal, at a neighboring table, told her companions a joke. She said, "Charlie Kirk's awful, terrible, no good, very bad day." Sure, that's her funny. She's a funny old lady there. To which one of her table mates responded, "Oh, that's great." And another said, "Geez, that's good." Other people could be heard chortling at the gag, thinking it's funny. Oh, it's funny. It's a very, very bad, horrible, terrible day. The meeting was called to order by a middle-aged woman who opened by saying, "Before we really get started, I just wanted everyone to take a deep breath." And they all paused for a deep breath. Hold it. Pausing again. Let it out. This is not yoga, is it? This last week has been an especially shocking one, a challenging one. So I just want everybody to take a moment to remember who we are. Yeah, you're the assassins, and you're celebrating the assassination. And who we are to each other, right? Right, Scott writes. Who they are as are people who joke over political assassination. Who they are to each other, people who laugh at each other's jokes about political violence. This is today's Democrat Party, and this is Texas, no less. The meeting continued with a PowerPoint presentation on transgenderism and transgender ideology, which opened with a series of definitions of various terms and acronyms, one of which included the letters M and F. When asked if everyone knew those terms, one woman twice suggested MF. The term means mother beeper. That's what the funny lady said. Oh, MF, it's male, female. But no, she says it's mother beeper, prompting another attendee to say, "Hey, there's a 5-year-old here. There's a 5-year-old here." The crowd laughed for 7 seconds. He's got a recording. Sure, this little meeting in North Texas represents a microcosm of the ideology that has taken over much, if not most, of the Democrat base. And it's been writ large in recent years. Consider the summer of 2020, after a previously anonymous career criminal in Minnesota with a heart condition and enough drugs in his system to kill him died while resisting arrest. America exploded. The mass of people reacting to the death of George Floyd set whole neighborhoods, buildings, police, and private vehicles ablaze. The riots in Minnesota, Kenosha, Portland, Oregon led to particularly vivid displays of arson. But they were not isolated events. Protesters set fires from Boston to Los Angeles, Seattle to Tampa, many cities in between. A lot of those not setting fires were busy looting, shooting, beating, and killing people. Nobody surveyed the thousands of violent protesters and to determine their political affiliation, but I'd wager they were not proponents of property rights, free markets, capitalism, the rule of law, or their precepts define modern American conservative ideology. They burned cities. Now consider the summer of 2025. A globally recognized conservative organizer, youth leader, and proponent of Christianity, died when an assassin sent a .30-06 round through his neck while inviting political conversation. The mass of people reacted to this, and they wept. Many who weren't gathered at memorials from coast to coast, bringing flowers, flags, and prayers with them. They reminisced, right? They read scripture. They sang hymns at evening vigils. I'll wager they are not proponents of income redistribution, state-controlled grocery stores, unbridled illegal immigration, state-mandated gender policy, or other precepts that define the American leftist ideology. They burned candles. These stark differences in ideology probably aren't surprising to the 27% of Americans who are registered Republicans or the 27% registered Democrats as measured by Gallup in 2023. But they're hugely influential among the 43% of registered independents. Millions of them have seen an outpouring of grief, love, heartfelt vigils for Charlie Kirk. And honestly, they have candlelight ceremonies and not firebombing Jewish governors' mansions with Molotov cocktails, as the Democrats do, because the Jewish governor is too pro-Israel. Isn't that amazing? So leftist ideology indicts itself once people see it in action. Perhaps that's why the New York Times last month raised the alarm about voter registration crisis, in which Democrats lost more than 2 million voters over the past 4 years, while Republicans gained nearly 2.5 million voters. People are beginning to see the ideological differences in American politics, and they're choosing to burn candles instead of burning cities. Very nice, very nice, very thoughtful. And Scott is a friend. If you come along on our sea cruises, you might know Scott and his wonderful wife and his wonderful daughter as well. Burning cities versus burning candles. Very good stuff, I've got to say. And wonderful. And I want to thank Scott Hoganson for that, because it sums it up quite nicely, got to say. Bloodthirsty, violent, firebombing, racist Democrat mobs across the country, sacking, looting, plundering all over the country. And that's because a career criminal junkie died of heart failure while resisting arrest. And the Democrats saw it as an opportunity to burn, loot, kill. It's what the left does. It's what the left has always done. Speaking of which, you see this guy. This is a wild one too, gotta say. Democrat bloodlust. Ohio Sheriff's Office investigating political buttons at county fair. This is kind of an amazing story. Ashland, Ohio. Authorities in Ohio investigating political buttons seen at a county fair. According to WJW, Ashland County Sheriff Kurt Schneider is confirming an investigation. Political buttons seen at the Ashland County Fair on Thursday, September 17th. Images show they've got buttons with red baseball caps like the MAGA hats, with words like fascist, resist, felon, and fascism, in addition to fascist and fascism. And then they have the buttons with the felon on the red cap. Is he dead yet? Is he dead yet? And this was being sold by whom? By the Democratic Party there, their official table at the county fair. You know, Big Wireless has been pulling one over on all of us, and it's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I made the switch. I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage without the big wireless cost. It's not just about saving money at the end of the month, although that's good. It's also about not being used and abused by the big cell phone companies that have been taking you for granted. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? Probably not. I have no idea myself. Most people over 50 use less than 8 gigs of data in a month. A 19-year-old might use 10 times that much, and Big Wireless wants to shove you into the unlimited plan because they're redistributing your cost to pay for younger people who use a lot more data than you do. Now, if you're not using all that data, you are the one being used and abused. Had enough of that? Make the switch to Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone. Incredibly easy to make the switch. You call, you talk to an actual human being, not a robot. Based right here in the United States, not in a far-off land. Real human beings who are helpful. Only takes about 20 minutes to make the switch and save all that money. So give them a call today and make the switch at 800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah, the Democrats. It turns out it's the Democrat Party table at the county fair selling buttons with MAGA-looking hats. And is he dead yet? Now, the Republican House of Representatives today passed a stopgap government spending bill, which Chuck Schumer plans on sabotaging and blowing up. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said they're not having any of Chuck Schumer's bourgeois.
What Chuck Schumer is trying to do, he wants to reinstate health care to be provided free by American taxpayers for illegal aliens. We're not going to do that either. He also wants to add $500 million to prop up left-leaning media organizations.
NPR,
We're not
PBS.
doing that either. Mm-hmm. Chuck Schumer chose to try to make this a partisan exercise, and Hakeem Jeffries as well. And it's wrong to do that.
And he's planning on adding, $1.5 trillion in spending to spread around to the left because he's a criminal, because he's a radical, he's a leftist, he's not a liberal, he's a modern Democrat. And the Speaker said $1.5 or $1.6 trillion that Schumer wants to throw in the pot here and bring back the $500 million for NPR and PBS because those are left-wing Democrat propaganda organizations from coast to coast. And free, that is to say we pay for it, health care for every stinking illegal alien gang member who is engaging in human trafficking in the United States. And the Democrats are big supporters of, their love affair with NPR and PBS is all the evidence you need to know that these are Democrat Party propaganda outlets. And throw another 1.5, 1.6 trillion. What's, a trillion here, a trillion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. I've got more Democrat insanity coming up, and Democrats fighting for illegal aliens in New York, in Chicago, at ICE detention facilities where they want to break them all out like it's, a third world banana republic.
Chuck Schumer's negotiation is that he wants to add $1.4 trillion in new spending. The answer is, heck no, we're not doing that.
Sorry, 1.4 trillion. I was off by 100 billion. They throw these numbers around. Chuck Schumer wants to add to the already existing budget passed by the House, 1.4 trillion, because I brought in a soundbite today of Chuck Schumer. The House has now passed the spending bill to keep the government open, and Chuck Schumer is out there saying that he's going to shut the government down because he wants $1.4 trillion and $500 million for NPR and PBS because they're propaganda networks for the Democrat Party. And if he doesn't get everything he wants, then the government will shut down. And then he knows that the news media will blame the Republican Party.
The American people will look at what Republicans are doing, look at what Democrats are doing, and it will be clear that public sentiment is on our side.
Yeah, for health care for illegal alien gang members and human traffickers, and you're paying for it. Get back to work. The Democrat Party. I say, we had a nice listener call in today and speak to Jeff Wolf on the phones today, and explain, didn't want to go on the air, and explain that at work he's been talking about Charlie Kirk being assassinated by a Democrat who his boyfriend thinks he's a girl, right? And assassinated Charlie Kirk. And also a bit of irony here that the Democrats are screaming and yelling about free speech because Jimmy Kimmel has been suspended by ABC Disney for spreading insane, gigantic Joseph Goebbels-style lies that it was a MAGA Republican that shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And they spread this on ABC Network, and every Democrat in the country pounds the table and says, that's good. Van Jones and CNN, he's a communist. And all of them, yeah, you can't stifle people from going around saying it was a MAGA Republican that shot and killed Charlie Kirk. You're trampling my free speech rights. And we were talking about it, and I said, conservatives tend to be the free speech people and defending free speech. If only we had a free speech rights advocate out there that we could talk to about this. Let me see. I know we've got a great free speech advocate, very vocal promoter of free speech. That was Charlie Kirk. And he was shot through the neck and assassinated last week by a Democrat whose boyfriend thinks he's his girlfriend. And that's all fine. And the Democrats don't have much to say about that. They don't have anything to say about that at all. Yeah, but we've got free speech advocates. We have one less free speech advocate this week than we had at the beginning of last week because you guys assassinated him. So keep that in mind, and the rest I can't say because of FCC rules. Isn't that amazing? No. Democrats. Oh, yeah, and AOC, I mentioned that AOC voted against the resolution to honor Charlie Kirk. She voted against it. And today, the left-wing Democrat hacks like Jim Vandehey, he's like an MSDNC creepy newspaper cable guy. And he's announcing today on behalf of his party, the Democrat Party, with two little red siren things like it's urgent. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and her team, she has a team, are positioning her to run for president or the United States Senate in 2028, according to people familiar with her position. And Jim Vandehey, who types press releases for the Democrat Party at a left-wing outlet called Axios, AOC's 2028 decision, run for president or Senate? We truly have reached the idiocracy that had been foreseen so long ago. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, D. New York, and her team are positioning her to run for president of the United States or the U.S. Senate in 2028, according to people familiar with her operation. She has an operation. Isn't that amazing? So, and this is what the Democrats have to offer. She should be a bartender. And I'm sure that she wouldn't be a good bartender because she's not smart enough to be a good bartender. Isn't that amazing? And then she voted against to honor the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. She voted against that. He was just assassinated by a Democrat. And the Democrat Party they're not a good group of people. Boy, are they not a good group of people. I am telling you. Yeah. Well, let's go. Let me go to soundbite number 10. This is a Democrat senator in the United States Senate, the United States of America, once a great country. And this is a Democrat senator by the name of Chris Murphy. Boy, we're going to have to take it back from their cold, dead hands, aren't we? Senator Chris Murphy, because ABC Disney has suspended Jimmy Kimmel, who said on national television with a straight face or a transgender face that it was a MAGA Republican that assassinated Charlie Kirk last week. This is Democrat Senator Chris Murphy.
Stephen Colbert is gone. Jimmy Kimmel is gone.
They're not dead.
You need to see what is happening right now. It is the systematic destruction of free speech in this country. It is Donald Trump using the power of the White House to try to shut down any speech that opposes him. There may be no democracy to save a year from now. This is a red alert moment.
It's a red alert moment. Just like Jim Vandehey's got his red alert on AOC running for president. That would be a red alert. Might require divine intervention to prevent that. Yeah, Colbert's show, according to reports from inside CBS, was losing $40 million to $50 million a year. And they informed him very politely that when his contract expires, they're going to keep paying him millions of dollars a month between now and then. But they're going to discontinue because he's losing a lot of money for the network. And then Jimmy Kimmel is getting 129,000 viewers in the demographic and on a network television program, broadcast and cable. And honestly, the Cartoon Network gets better numbers than that. And here's Chris Murray, and it's the end of democracy. We may not have because CBS is dumping a guy whose show is losing $40 million to $50 million a year. I don't think he's a capitalist, Chris Murphy. If he owned a business, he wouldn't own it for long, because when you're losing tens of millions of dollars, you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. Then Illinois governor, who inherited billions of dollars from successful ancestors, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, known as Circumference in Bugs Bunny circles. Again, if ABC suspends a talk show host, it's the end of the world.
If you're not paying attention now and doing something about it, well, then you're going to have to sit down the rest of your life, because democracy is being taken away.
Democracy is because ABC suspended a talk show host. They use the words, but they don't know what they mean. And he looked very angry. Speaking of which, did you see him yesterday? There's a great story about J.B. Pritzker, who was holding an event, and this is quite amazing, I've got to say, in Illinois, where he invited in people who are supposed to be heroes of the Democrat Party revolution, and the dipstick, the dim-witted governor, Democrat governor of the once great state of Illinois, he brought in some people who are supposed to be heroes of the revolution, right? And posed for photos with one particularly criminal guy. And they took photos of the white governor with the black man wearing a safety vest, the kind you wear if you're, picking up litter on the side of the highway because you got busted for drunk driving or something like that. But this is amazing. The governor posed for photos with this guy. And let me go to CWB Chicago. Days before fatal Mag Mile crash and grab, accused man posed with Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois at peacekeeper event while wanted in 4 states. I'm sorry, what happened here? And CWB Chicago, days before, and Mag Mile is Michigan Avenue, like the most deluxe mile of road in Chicago, where Oprah Winfrey has a $50 million condo and a skyscraper, and all the high-end stores are there, like Louis Vuitton. And here's the picture of Governor Pritzker posing with his close personal friend, Kellen McMiller. And it turns out that there was a famous robbery in Chicago last Thursday, right, when an innocent man was killed, that is to say murdered, when a crash and grab robbery went wrong. I don't know if that's them going wrong or going right. But here's the guy posing with the governor who is in with the mob, crashing a vehicle, probably stolen, through the front, the glass wall, this 35-year-old guy, Kellen McMiller, and they crashed their vehicle, or somebody's vehicle, through the storefront at a Louis Vuitton store, 919 North Michigan Avenue. And there's video, shows several men running through the shattered storefront after backing a pickup truck through the front window at the Louis Vuitton store. And they grabbed $700,000 worth of Louis Vuitton things and stole the stuff, right? Now, he's been arrested, and after he's arrested, it's like, hey, isn't this the guy that was standing there with the governor a couple of days ago having photo ops with the governor? Yes, it is. And then it turns out that he's actually wanted in 4 states. He's wanted for crimes as a career criminal in 4 states. And here he is with Governor Pritzker, who still has the temerity, the audacity, the mendacity to show up in public and say anything. These people, there's and here are the 4 thugs, the mugshots of the 4 thugs. They're all African-American men. This guy, I think, has a big tattoo on his forehead, and that's okay, because Pritzker took pictures with McMiller And he's one of the criminals that crashed the truck through the front of the Louis Vuitton store on the nicest block in all of Chicago, stole $700,000 worth of stuff, got arrested, and, you know, the crash and grab. It's like a smash and grab, but you got to crash the whole vehicle through the front of the building. Isn't that amazing? So he's charged with battery of an officer, resisting arrest, resisting an officer with violence, carrying an open container of alcohol, and this is the Democrat Party. This is what they do. He's wanted in the state of Florida, wanted in the state of Indiana, wanted in the state of Wisconsin, and now unwanted in the state of Illinois. And here is Governor Pritzker out there saying democracy is being taken away because Jimmy Kimmel's show has been suspended because of low ratings, and then lying on national television. And again, the FCC issues these broadcast licenses to networks, and in the language passed by Congress for FCC to authorize broadcast licenses, there has to be a public service element in the broadcasting that they provide. Isn't that amazing? Speaking of communist-loving Democrats, Eric Swalwell, who is he still having a sexual affair with Fang Fang, the Chinese secret agent that was sent here to recruit communists, and recruited Eric Swalwell when he was a city councilman in California, and raised money for him and ushered him to Washington, D.C. in the House of Representatives, then to the Intelligence Committee, where he sat as a Democrat while having sex with a Chinese secret agent, honeypot, named Fang Fang. Isn't that great? Eric Swalwell on CNN with John Berman showed up wearing a baseball cap from the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
You are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
He can't see it.
Damn right I am, John.
Damn right.
Was a guest on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. He,
who cares?
Every night has a right to come into any house that wants to watch and entertain Americans, just as Greg Gutfeld on Fox has a right to be not funny and go on his network and entertain.
Well, he gets 3 times the ratings or 4 times the ratings that this clown got. He's wearing his Jimmy Kimmel hat. He's got a right. Does he? And then, and it's Manderson Pooper there, who's a billionaire himself because his family made lots and lots of money. And then they pay him $15 million at CNN also. But never mind that. He bought a firehouse in New York as a party house for his friends. And so he got that. Just amazing. Just amazing. And he's got a right. Does he have a right to the 11:30 time slot? Manderson Pooper didn't ask that obvious question. President Trump is having none of this. He was in the United Kingdom before flying home yesterday, and he's back in Washington now. President Trump asked about Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, no, Jimmy Kimmel, it's the end of democracy, the end of the First Amendment, the end of free speech.
Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago.
I honestly, this morning I was thinking, I do movies and things like that. There's an old movie that's kind of fun called Network, Patty Chayefsky, the writer. And the Anchorman, it's about a TV news network and a news show on a TV network in the United States. And the team in New York decided that their anchorman, Howard Beale, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, was bad for ratings. What are they going to do about that?
This was the story of Howard Beale, the first known instance of a man who was killed because he had lousy ratings.
Yeah, and that was the end of the movie Network, which nobody's seen in a long, long time, but it's kind of fun. They had a show that they dedicated to the Maoists. It was considered to be ironic and satirical at the time. Now it's a little too close to reality. Hey, how about all those Democrats in New York being arrested and handcuffed because they're fighting for more illegal aliens to be in New York, and they want them freed? Gang members, human traffickers, wife beaters, let them all go.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace.
Now, the Democrats are pro-crime. This woman she should be removed from Congress for mental illness. Democrat Jasmine Crockett There is a bill in Congress named for a 20-year-old girl that was raped and murdered by an MS-13 member, and the Democrats are voting against it. The raped and murdered young woman's name was Kayla Hamilton. She had family, and here is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in a hearing yesterday about that bill.
You take a situation and then you exploit what has happened to not only that person, but you exploit those families and you make it a game. Stop just throwing a random dead person's name on something for your own political expediency.
Yeah, random dead person's name. Well, you guys provide us about 20,000 of those every year. A Republican congressman, Representative Russell Fry from South Carolina, was having none of it.
I want to be clear about what we just heard a few minutes ago from Ms. Crockett from Texas. This person was a vibrant soul, had a life, was pursuing a degree. She's not some random dead person, but she's a symptom of a larger problem, which you guys have ignored for years.
Yeah, and you guys should stop murdering people and stop waving criminal gangs in from other countries. Jasmine Crockett also explained that, she revealed that she doesn't know what the word crime means.
I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Committing a crime can come for a lot of different reasons.
Can come for because you're a Democrat, and that's not just because you commit a crime, you're not a criminal, right? It's because you go around shooting people, you're not a gunman. Now, we've got a lot going on this weekend. On Sunday, the funeral, the memorial service in Arizona for Charlie Kirk, a massive security event, just gigantic, because the Democrats are threatening everybody, and we know that they're violent, and they think that democracy is going to come to an end if an ABC talk show host doesn't get his show back. That would be the end of democracy. Also, tonight, in the Jimmy Kimmel time slot, there will be a memorial on most stations around the country to Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated last week by a Democrat because of their hatred of America and God and Jesus and faith.